this is Richard, back with another video on the cargo trailer to travel trailer conversion. And in our last video we had done some plumbing work and we had some small leaks. So I just wanted to give you an update on those. I haven't finished the plumbing because I'm still waiting on the fittings for the hot water heater. But once I receive those, I'll video the system working, showing the pumps working and so forth, just to show you what it looks like working, as well as the draining the gray tank using the pump. So in this video we're going to start the window process. Just a reminder, in case it's not blatantly obvious, I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in these. I've never converted a trailer before. Closest I've gotten is I restored a 70s vintage travel trailer about 20 years ago. So I don't normally do carpentry work or plumbing work, other than to do things around the house, and that's almost non-existent. I mean, everything works. No call for me to do any of that. So this is outside my realm of expertise. I'm just faking it, and so take it for what it's worth. So, and everybody's trailer is different, and everybody wants a different layout and setup and outcome. But in this trailer we're going to put 4 windows, or 6 windows, I'm sorry. 4 windows on the sides, 2 on each side, and then 2 in the ramp that we're not going to use as a ramp. I'm going to take out the spring mechanism, get rid of that space being taken up by the spring and rod and so forth, and we're just going to use that as a back wall, and it's going to have 2 windows on it. Now originally, when I purchased the 6 windows, the plan was to have 3 windows. 1, 2, 3. But that was before I disassembled things. And once I disassembled things, if you look at an earlier video, you'll see that we found that they put right here, this is a structural piece. And these really are not structural pieces. These are just an attachment piece that allows them to attach to the aluminum skin and the plywood. And the plywood really is what gives it the rigidity. But what's really supporting the roof and giving the trailer rigidity are these pieces that are every so often that are actually welded a little bit. These are just tacked in place, not really welded. So, bottom line, that was where I was going to put my middle window. So they would have been evenly spaced, 3 windows, bang, bang, bang. Because this is where we're going to be seated. This is our seating area, the table, so forth. The bed will be above, it will come down. Like I said, it's an elevator bed, they call them, lift bed, whatever. So that's where we wanted the windows. But since we couldn't, I mean, you could put it here, but you'd have to do some, structural work, and I didn't want to get that involved. So, window, skip, window, and then 2 in the back, which is nice. So give us, we had a travel trailer before that had windows in the rear and the sides and the back, and we really like that. Really makes things feel open and nice. So that brings it to where I am, what I'm doing, kind of the big picture. So the other thing that we're having to deal with is these are all these U channels, or what I call an omega channel. Because if you look at it, it looks like the Greek omega. But anyway, these ears on the side here are going to be within the area where I need to cut. And so as I'm cutting, my saw blade would want to hit the back side of this flange or ear, and that would not be good. I could break a saw blade. And there's different ways you could do that. I guess you could space on the other side, space the blade out so that it won't come and hit that. But the further I space out, your accuracy with the blade and everything. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this and remove some of this. I don't have to remove all of it, but I got to remove some of this in order to get the clearance. And these are all different, the spacing, and they're not all perfectly vertical. This trailer is so far from perfect as to be the opposite of perfect. It's a cheap, poorly built trailer in my opinion. And if I was expecting it to last longer than what I need it to last, you'd have to totally rebuild the thing or spend a lot more money maybe, if even that would work. Reading the stuff on social media and forums and stuff, you'll see that even the historically brand name top trailers, the quality's come down because they're all just cranking them out so quickly. So what I've done is I removed the insulation I had here, and I'm going to cut these tabs off. And I'm going to show you kind of what I'm talking about. This is a piece of ABS. You know from watching our conversion vehicles videos, we use a lot of ABS. We use it in our engraving business where we manufacture lots of different products. So I'm real familiar with ABS, and I have it laying around, and it makes a real nice template. And the reason I made an ABS template versus say cardboard or something else was I'm going to do 6 windows. So I wanted something that would have the durability and repeatability. So you can see that this won't fit through, through that, and I'll be cutting on the outside edge of this. So like I said, the saw blade would want to hit that. So I'm going to trim a good part of this off, like at least half in this area. And that will, it's more work, more hassle, but it'll ensure that when I'm cutting, I don't have any issues. And I'm going to be cutting from the outside in. Now, because there's no room to lay the saw on this side. Oh, I think that's obvious. So what I've done, if I remember, I'll show you a picture. I've got a picture of this sitting on the outside of the trailer, and when you look at the picture, it almost looks like it's a tinted window. It's my template. But anyway, so what we did is, this is the size of the window cutout, okay? And I carefully checked that this matches my, window ID or OD on the window perfectly, okay? So this is going to be used as a template. Now, where to put the window, we used, my wife and I, our heights. So we figured my wife seated, she's shorter than I am, and she's getting shorter, she's shrinking with age. And so when she was seated, we took that to be our minimum so that she could see through the window easily from a seated position. That's the bottom. And then the top had to be high enough so that when I'm standing, I could look out through the window without having to duck down to look out the window. So that determined where this window had to fall in the vertical sense. Okay? And so now we know where we want the window. Okay? Next, we had to determine what we could reference that point that I'm going to come up with. What's a point of reference? Can't use the ground. You can't use level. I mean, it's real tough to get something perfectly level, even with a long level that I have and everything. They're just, I don't trust them, don't like them enough. I use lasers a lot and everything, but the easiest thing I found was that there's a flange up here, and let me see if I can tip up, but the whole top of the trailer has this, not flange, but this angle. So right here there's an angle. And that piece is what I'm going to use for my reference point. Okay, so hopefully the distance between that point here, where this window is going, and the point over here, this window, is close enough that when viewed from outside the trailer, these windows will look like they're at the same level. So that's going to be my reference point. And based on my minimum and maximum specs for my window, we came up with, I think it was 27 inches. So this is 27 inches down from the top, okay? And that put this into where we're sitting. We can look out. Standing, I can look out, okay? Hope I'm explaining this well. So that's my center point from, vertically. Then I measured between these two pieces inside the flanges. You can do it outside the flange, but I did it inside so I was closer to here. Because you do it inside, So that's my center point. That's going to be the center point of my window. And if you'll notice, my template has a little hole right here. It's a 3/16 inch hole. I'm going to drill a 3/16 inch hole here. And then I will, from the outside, I'll bolt this loosely to the outside of the trailer, and I'll put some tape for protection on the trailer. And I'm going to adjust that to where that is hopefully true vertically. And then I'll snug that down, and then I will, with a permanent marker, trace my template, and that will give me exactly where I want to cut out that window. Make sense? So once I do that, I'll remove my template. Now my outline is drawn on my tape. And then I'm going to put my insulation back in place. Because I'm going to cut through the insulation and the aluminum skin at the same time. Now, a couple reasons for that. One, they're going to be the exact same size hole. Two, it will keep this from moving, give me a little more backing rigidity in here when I'm cutting, so the saw blade will be less likely to kind of catch that thin 30 thousandths, thick aluminum skin and cause me any issues. I haven't done one yet, so I haven't learned anything yet. Hopefully I don't learn too much. I like, you can either be smart or lucky. Sometimes I like being lucky. So, gonna grind this first, or I'll drill the hole first, then I'll not grind, but cut my flanges, put on my template, mark my hole, and then I'm probably gonna drill 2 holes, pilot holes, down towards the bottom, basically right about here, so before the arch. And I'll put them down here. Now normally when I'm drilling a hole, or not necessarily a hole, like a square hole in something, I'll put one in one corner and one in the other corner. And you go one way and the other way, okay? 2 holes allows you to go easy without having to go all the way around. But on this, because of the rounded edges and everything, I'm going to go 2, and that will make my distance that I cut down here going around like this a shorter distance, and then this will be going up around, because this is just me. I feel that I'll be more, it'll be easier, and I feel like I'll be a little more coordinated cutting up than I would be if I was cutting down. So if I put something up here and I got to come back down with the saw, I just don't feel as comfortable And so if I do them right here, the only down will be this one little edge here and come up to there. Then here it would be up and around, up and around. Sounds like a plan to me. This is one of 6. So, not going to go, mass produce any of this. I'm going to do the method that I've just described, and if it goes well and I feel comfortable, that's the way I'm going to do all 6. If not, number 2 will be done a little differently. And if that doesn't still work out all the issues, maybe number 3 will be done. Hopefully, number 1 flies like a champ, and they're all done bang, bang, bang without issue. So that's the plan. I'm not going to film my actually doing it and everything because I want to be focused on what I'm doing and not anything else. I don't want to make any mistakes, and I make plenty of mistakes without any help from a camera. Plus this way, hopefully I can fix a mistake and you don't have to know about it. We'll see. I'll probably show you the different steps, but I'm not going to show you, watching somebody drill something or cut something. I don't know. I don't find that really entertaining. But what I do find interesting is the process, the thought process, how and why kind of thing. And that's what I'm trying to share with you. Like I said, if this had been the square stock stuff, I wouldn't be doing this. Wouldn't have this problem. But a lot I didn't know beforehand on this trailer, and just doing the research and everything, this brand is one of the top, most produced, most sold. They get as good reviews as anybody, but I don't know how. Once I started taking it apart, it's crap. But most of them are nowadays. When we bought our travel trailer, our fifth wheel, back in 2014, everybody that I heard of or knew was having problems with their trailers. Everybody. Some of them didn't even make it home, without problems. Ours never had a single issue. So I'm thankful for that. It was a great trailer. It was an open range. It was made by Open Range before they were bought out by Jayco. And we put almost 40,000 miles on that trailer. Had it for 8 years. It was a great trailer. Loved it. Very comfortable, very nice trailer, but big. Almost 400 square feet of living space, 4 slides. And it was just a hassle to take a lot of places. Once you got there, it was great. If you're going down the open road, it was great. That old Dodge didn't even know it was back there. And still got 12 to 13 miles per gallon. The issue was you don't take any unexpected detours because it was 8.5 feet wide, 13 feet tall, and I was 54, 55 feet long, combined length. And you don't make any U-turns, and you can't just turn around anywhere. And so you needed to, have all your logistics figured out ahead of time. So we're wanting something that's a little more go anywhere, no thought. I mean, at 16 foot, it's smaller than my enclosed car trailer, which you don't even think it's back there. I mean, you almost drive totally normally, other than the fact it's a little over. It's 8 foot 7 inches. So if you're going through road construction, you're paying attention. But this ought to be a little easier. It's only 8 foot wide, and it's only 16 feet plus the V. So be a dream to drag around. Hopefully, we'll see. On with the windows, though. I don't know how well this is showing up on camera, but go over the grinder again. But anyway, I hope this is the toughest part of the whole project. Cutting that off. I just used a cut-off wheel And so tried to do as straight a line as possible. Anyway, cut both those off, and my template should fit in there no problem now. And where's the hole? There's the hole. So has to be where the window will go. So that's the name of that tune. Now, based on the thickness of my wall and everything, the 3/8" plywood that was on there wasn't thick enough for these windows, and it really wasn't thick enough for me. I wanted something a little more substantial to mount my cabinets to and so forth. So I went with 1/2 inch, which just happens to be perfect for my windows. Gives me the perfect depth. And you would see, you know, with the trim ring here, if I didn't cut out that piece, my screws wouldn't go through because it would hit this piece also. So this had to come out for a couple of reasons. But once I do, once we did cut that out, now you can see this will fit. I don't know if I mentioned it, before or not, but I'm going to put the insulation back in here, cut out the aluminum skin and the insulation at the same time. Then I'm going to put the wall on and mark where that goes and everything. And that will be cut out separately. And I will use, like I said, the interior trim ring for that. So I'll just screw it in place in probably 3 places, because you got this little piece here at the bottom, so I'll probably screw on either side of that, keep that from moving. And then in the center, and then I'll trace the outside of this, which is what has to recess in that piece of wood. And hopefully everything lines up as you want it to. So we'll see how that all goes. I'm gonna hit this a little bit more with the grinder. I hit it a little bit to kind of clean it up, but it felt smooth with the gloves, but I don't think it's going to be that smooth. I try to go with my bare hands. So clean that up a little bit and then start prepping the outside of this, the tape, and I think I'll maybe, if I remember, I'll show you before I start to cut what it's going to look like. And I'm doing, this is the sink side, is what I call it. And the other side's the door side. So this is the driver's side, if it were a driven vehicle. Anyway, this is the left side, opposite the door side, whatever term you want to use. But anyway, I'm doing that first in case this one's not perfect. At least I don't see it walking up to the door every time. Hopefully it's perfect. So I've thought about it enough over the last month and a half, and we're at that point where I need to do it, and so hopefully it goes well, looks good. And I've got my butyrate tape, I've got my caulking. I'm going to double seal this thing. So I've got everything. Like I said, I've got the windows. It's just a matter of doing this part. And boy, do I hate cutting holes in things. If you've ever watched our EV conversion videos, you'll know I do not like cutting holes in things, especially classic cars. But no, I'm not any more fond of having to cut in my new trailer either. So, but we're getting real close to doing just that. Stay with me. Well, that's the first one in. 1 down, 5 to go. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to do the first 4, and the last 2 in the tailgate will come later in the project. Let me give you a shot of what it looks like from the outside. Okay, here's the exterior view, and you can see the frame just
barely clears the screws on both sides. That's why I went with the size window I did. I wanted to stay between the ribs in there, but it is still tight. I believe this is a 12 by 22 inch window. So the next one will be what, not here, but here. So we'll be skipping a panel. You can see the next set of screws, we're going to go beyond that, the last large panel before the end of the trailer. So I'm going to get at it. It's a little nerve-wracking in that you don't want to make a mistake at this point in the game. I have 4 of the windows cut in. The other 2 will be in the ramp, which we're not going to use as a ramp. It's going to be a back wall. I believe I explained that before. And I will be insulating, and we're going to change the plywood on the back wall from 3/4 to 1/2 inch. I'm going to remove the spring mechanism. That'll give me some room up there. But what we're focusing on now is the wall. And so I'm doing a couple things kind of simultaneously. One is I'm going to have to cut out the holes in the wall to match the windows. So I have that to do. And actually it's a little larger hole on the inside on the wall than it is on the outside on the skin. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing that. The other thing is that my bed rails are going to be bolted to the wall. Not screwed to the wall, not screwed through to these flimsy little, vertical pieces. It's going to be bolted to the wall. The wall will be screwed to the frame of the trailer. Now I'll show you that as we go on. But what I kind of wanted to point out at this point is that I'm doing things kind of differently than most people do, and I typically do that. I kind of go to the beat of my own drummer. But what I'm doing here is the typical method is you put a full sheet on the bottom of the wall, okay? And then whatever that distance is, so that's 4 feet, and if it's 7 feet to the top, then you rip another sheet, and you have a 4-foot width one and a 3-foot width one, okay? Well, I'm doing it the opposite way around. I'm doing it so that I have a full sheet on the top and then the partial sheet on the bottom. Now, why would I do that? Just to be different? No. There's always a method to my madness. The reason for doing that is that leftover piece measures less than 3 feet. And I don't remember exactly right now what that is. But anyway, it's less than 3 feet. So what that means in the big picture is that my seam will be below counter height. So guess what? You don't see the seam. And so it's these kind of, seemingly insignificant things that I do to, avoid certain things or to cover up the fact that I'm not much of a carpenter. I don't want to deal with the seam. The seam will be not exposed, and so it's no harm, no foul. The process is I put the little one down first, the thinner one, and then allows me to put the upper one on, and I have a platform to sit that on. And I'm leaving a slight gap at the top because there will be the that's how the ceiling will go in. It's going to sit on top of the wall, actually. And then the ceiling will be secured to my roof ribs. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sure 99.9% of people do it differently. That's the beauty of doing something like this. You can do it your way. You buy one, an RV from a manufacturer, they all pretty much do it the same way. If you go and watch some of the factory tours and show how to do it, boy, can they whip those things out fast, and it's just staples and glue. And I'll be using some glue. Not planning on using any staples. I will be using screws. I'm working on the what I call the sink side first, and once I get this done, we'll move over and do the door side. But let me show you what I'm doing when I'm talking about the brackets or the oh God, what do you want to call it? The channel for my bed. And so there's going to be one, on this side of the window, the rear window, and the other one will be on the other side. So the windows will be within that bed distance, which is 60 inches. It's a queen size bed, so they measure 80 by 60. And I'm going to make the frame a little bit larger than that. But let me give you kind of the big picture of how I'm doing that.